All right, back from the welder who does the cast iron welding. And he's like, that's not going to leak. Looks pretty good. You know? And like I said, all I did was cut it. This was facing directly in the back, and I angled it down. He filled the holes. There was a lot. He said this is a very expensive rod, you know? And hopefully it holds up. Would have liked to have seen it, like, you know, be welded on the inside too. But they can't weld it all the way around. But, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully it's not an issue. You know, I got my light shining on the thing and looking inside. I don't see nothing. But you can see how there's, you know, kind of, you know, because I didn't have it perfect, you know, as far as up against it so tight, but, you know, it's floating on a space kind of thing, you know, so it's just really holding all by weld. It's kind of what I wanted, you know. I went to Ace Hardware just to get a metric stud because I really couldn't find them otherwise, and I probably should have made sure this was. I did just chase the hole, and it chased the hole with the 8mm, but for some reason I thought I would get this in. I got to use a vice grip of some sort, and it's going to be pretty nice, I think. Because it's going to be, you know, facing the right angle, so that's important. Well, I'm mad at myself for not matching up the gasket earlier, but I had asked AI if the available new manifold, which was only $40, and I could have even got it cheaper than that if I looked around. The original manifold for the front-wheel drive, which came with studs and everything, although it might have been a 3-bolt flange from what I remember, he said that would not fit on my old 2.8, and then I asked about the 3.1 with the aluminum engine, with the aluminum head, and they said yes, it would fit, but it's a lie. You know, even though it looks like that'll fit, it doesn't line up. And even though, and these are bigger holes, I don't know if I can just make these the bigger holes. I doubt it, because they're, oh fuck, I just bent this. There may not be enough meat around there to do something like that. But this was stuck to the motor. I kind of wanted it to stick, you know, to make sure it's sealed again. So I want to buy a set. Oh. There seems to be enough meat, but I don't know if drilling the hole bigger is really going to, you know, make up for something like this. And it's hard to say where in relationship to the port is the hole, you know, and it seems like, because they said that it was something that the port difference is a little bit bigger. But it not for this year. It said it wasn't, so it wasn't an issue, and they were wrong. You know, but it's also possible if they were counting for a Camaro or something, not the front wheel drive version, because the Camaro still had the cast iron heads, and the other one had aluminum heads, but I specifically said aluminum heads. I got so used to AI being correct about a lot of different things, particularly measurements. I mean, I knew how far apart the exhaust ports were from one year motor to the other, from the 90s, and from the late 90s, and I guess that's because GM did away with the Camaro and the S10 having that motor, and they just went with the 4.3 or the 3.8 in the Camaro. That they weren't even calculating that, so anything that was a 3.1 was definitely the aluminum head motor, and then it had all this. So I got to elongate these holes somehow. Oh man, what a pain in the fucking ass. I'm not happy. What a disaster. I've been here for hours. And the big problem now is, you see that curve right there? I cleaned it up a lot. There's only so much I can do because the holes has to go in there. I'm not even 100% sure my holes are big enough. I think they are. The fronts definitely look good. The front, you can see this tapers down, so it automatically gives you more room to start with. I'm probably going to have to buy reduced head bolts. But I can reuse the big ones here. I got to put like a 3/4 spacer, because once I put the spacer, well, the bottom ones you see here ended up being bigger. The front, the 40 millimeter, the 40 millimeter is big, but I have to put a 3/4 spacer on it, which is like another 20 millimeter. So I would have to get like a 60 millimeter bolt. So two 60 millimeter bolts, and then the two original ones I use over. I might just buy new ones anyway. I gotta measure this, but ultimately the 3/4 bolt will allow the 3/4 spacer will allow it to go there. I probably have to grind a flat spot on the 3/4 spacer, so it's able to go over, and then the bolts will be out here. I got this thing in. It was kind of a pain. I didn't see it like for sale anywhere, but it'll be a little hard to catch, to start with, because that one has that other thing. But I had to use a pipe wrench to get it in, but you wanted to get past the hole there, of course. But the threads ends up being in the same place. Hopefully it's not an issue with the boss there. I don't think so. The flange should hit it first. Let's see. I got a flange here that I might actually end up using. I may not, but I think this one was a little different size flange. It's like 1 7/8, not 2-inch. Which I have no control over. But a universal flange of some sort would probably work, because they're usually like oval. Yeah, this is a small one. Yeah, no matter what I do. So, and the crossover, if I get actually a crossover pipe, it's fucking more money than any of this shit. People want like over $100 for a freaking crossover pipe, and I would have to get it for the same kind of car. They don't make it new, or they do. Maybe they do make it new, but it's still, even a new one is $100, I think. So this was really not. I didn't realize I was going to be going through this. What a bummer. So I'm still not sure. I have so much metal filings everywhere. And yeah, I could have probably gone to a machine shop. I asked my friend to do it on his machine, but that's not so super duper important. I'm going to end up buying a new gasket. But ultimately, when the gasket is on you need when the gasket is lined up in the hole, you got to be able to see through both of these. See, I got this one pretty good, because if I go down to the hole, which it may not be square all the way through, if that makes sense. So what seems like it's in the middle and plenty, like it may be plenty over here, but over here I get less, which is fine, and then like these were getting distorted, so I kind of try to clean them up to make them go straight. All the torque on these bolts are like 30 foot-pounds, so it's not like a lot. I'm not worried about, having something off and then it breaks the fucking end, cracks the manifold or anything like that. Sure hope not. I don't want to wish that into existence. See, it's like when I go here, see the space right there? So it's definitely not as tight over. It's tighter here, so I'd have to go more with the die grinder over there. So I have room. I probably just will, but I want to probably try fit it without a gasket and see what happens. Because I might have plenty, anyway, And if it's tapered, it may have a little more strength. These, I definitely had to go in more. This one seems like more to go here, but actually up here. But with the 3/4 spacer, it's probably gonna be fine. It's a lot of money in spacers. They're 4 fucking spacers, and they charge a lot of money for them. I was wondering if I should just get aluminum ones from Amazon, because it's really not going to be a big deal. But the thing is, the aluminum can expand at different rates, and then the bolts are not that tight, or if they're crappy aluminum. If it's not like billet aluminum, which probably isn't, it may have an issue, with expansion. Oh, now I gotta find a flange, because I don't know if any of the flanges I got are smaller than 2 inches, because they came off of mostly American cars. And this is an American car, but it's V6 stuff, and this was originally from front-wheel drive. What a fucking mess. I just never get into a mode of fixing anything I got, like mess-wise, and I really don't have a lot of flanges, and I don't believe this was anything. I think it's the same one as that. It might just work. It might just work if I elongate the holes. So if I put the flange here, it kind of makes it, but kind of doesn't either, Yeah. I don't know if they have this in 7/8. I mean, I suppose if I grind the end here, make this half as big, it'll. It might work, and then knob along these holes. So something along those lines. That way, I could still have the 2-inch that the other side has. It just all gets kind of funny. But, it's custom. There's a whole bunch of weird shit happening when you do these things, Unfortunately, there's just not the right angle for this engine available. If I got a right side manifold, I might get a center dump. It still doesn't really help me in this situation. But then there's a second one. The front wheel drive right-hand ones, because they have this going from the other one, the crossover, and then it dumps out in the middle. And it's like coming out this way, straight out. And that's a funny angle too. Like, this is much more common sense for a rear wheel drive. So it is what it is. You gotta make do with what you got. I don't have a 2-inch flange, So what I can do is try to get somebody that can make me a 7/8, 1 7/8 flange with whatever ferrule, whatever you want to call it, and then weld on a 2-inch pipe after that. So at least it's dumping into something a little bit bigger. It doesn't matter. It's going to be all into a Y pipe, into a 2-inch muffler. Although if it ever gets changed, it can always be with a bigger muffler. But I figure at the end it'll be like 2 1/4 available. A lot of mufflers had 2 1/4 in and 2-inch out anyway. It should be fine, as far as whatever's going on. I can also, and I've done it before, is grind this out, give it more flow, because it is going in a couple of different directions here with everything that's going on. It dumps out, but it's the same amount of space, really. It just goes this way to this way, instead of being a little more flowing. I don't even want to try to put a die grinder in here. I don't think I could. The thing is, it's very close. It's not really terribly far off, but I could do something technically. Just in case the weld is thin. No, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be grinding it past the spot that I need to, so I just don't want to grind into the weld as it is. I'm getting close over here, I think, although probably more than I think. Sucks to have to go through all this fucking trouble just for a manifold. Oh, a lot of stupid shit happens sometimes, yeah. And with this one, it's like there's a super slight chance that it would have worked, but I'm really right on top of the steering box. This whole thing would have to be less than 3 inches, and it would have to see. And this is like 2 1/8. Oh no, it's 2 inches. Okay, so it would have to bend right here. Sorry, it'd have to bend right here, and then bend again. It'd have to bend immediately coming out, and then another S. I just don't see that as user friendly. You know, it's in relationship to where this is. This is the steering box down here, and it's there's just no real room here, and it's really like 2.5 inches. So it's like it's nearly impossible. Maybe I have the 3 inches, but because you see the steering box is kind of like hovering over this corner right here. So like if it actually turned, there was a little room to do it. I would just hate anything to go wrong, you know. So it is what it is. I just didn't know the fucking spacing was that much different. It's awfully fucking stupid. Really, they should have made it so you can go right on. And the thing is that here's the other thing is that they had them for a lot more money though. They had an exhaust manifold for like a Chevy, Cavalier or whatever with the cast iron heads from the 80s. But they wanted like $95 plus $45 for shipping, and this was like $50, delivered, 55 delivered. But I didn't realize it, It seems like a much better casting than the old shit, and also it was very, very clean. It's much easier to weld cast iron, and the metal is clean, because even then the guy was like not guaranteeing anything. But when he welded it, he says, "Oh, this worked out good." So, and he knows it's gonna be fine. So I just didn't know how to do all this fucking modification. So note to self: just get the old one and take your chances. But it's the same angle, pretty much, So I would have had to cut it and weld it anyway. But obviously, it's a lot less work. It also had like something like this where there's no bolts. There's no bolt holes here. See how like this one's angled? That one's not. That one has the big holes. This one has no holes. But it's like notched out here. See the little notches here? It's close. Because obviously of some kind of expansion rate. That you start cutting off that and welding it. I just don't know how much stronger it is. Probably wouldn't be a big deal. But man, what a job so far. Okay, looking apart again. Everything was fine, except for the fact that I had this on the right side. I had this lined up with this guy over here, and now I had to take it all apart again because it was I realized what I had to buy now to make the auto-canceling work. A lot of cars had auto-canceling back then, and it was an aftermarket unit that you would buy. So I'm buying an old crusty one, and hopefully it still works, but I'll paint it up, make it look decent. And it should work now, okay? I re-drilled the holes, 180 off. I don't know how, but it's not even close to where it was, but I felt tension last time, so I think it's a little closer to being correct. It's like maybe 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch back. I don't know how this one is so far to fuck off. It's actually, this one is lower. Yeah, so when you can see through that one. This is the first one I drilled. You could see through that one. And this one is probably the only one that was questionable, but it did have a little bit of a tightness to it before. So I think it's a little more loosey-goosey and just needs to be right where it is. So, hopefully. So, it seems like that's going to be okay. I'm not going to film putting this back together because I got to repaint it. The paint's got to dry. I got to put it back together. I got the fucking spring to contend with and all that shit. And I was thinking about just sanding up the steering wheel and putting some epoxy in some of the cracks and throwing this, whatever paint I have left on it as well. So we'll see. Okay, while waiting for epoxy and paint to dry, I decided to start doing this. I ended up putting studs in the front. There was plenty of room. It's nice to be able to catch something when you're doing something like this. So I put the 2 studs over here. Even though to get the gasket out, you'd have to take out that stud probably to make it easier on you. I loosened the dipstick tube here. It's not a problem though. I can retighten it by now. But I lined up all the bolts. But these spacers, I had to grind a lot off them. These are just snug right now. But I don't know if you can see the profile, but there was a lot to to, like if it's this thick on the bottom side, that would have been a problem. But I got them both to work. You can see there's a not only a flat spot, but it's curved. There's a curved section that's gone. Like, I just did both the same. I probably could have got away with doing it a little different on one than the other, but I can't even see it. You can see some of the original hull there. Like, it might be good for me to rotate this to some degree, now that I see it. So I'll try that. Okay. Whoop. A little better. I probably had more room on one side than the other. So, because who knows how they actually spaced this out compared to the old ones. I just kept grinding and drilling. Very frustrating. I should have got the one for the right ear motor in the end, like I said. But the original bolt for one of the other manifolds here is this long. And then I got 60 millimeter here. And it's a fortune for the other ones, but I don't think they had them in the flanged. Even these, you buy 2 packages of 2. They're $4 each now. It's 2 bolts. So it's $2 a bolt, but it's a lot more for the flange ones, like $3.69 at Ace Hardware. But I got to grind this definitely. Not only a flat spot, you see, I made it curved here on both because it's just so far off, So let me get to work and start grinding these. All right, that's there. I must say, I don't want to say it felt funny, but it was definitely because I'm not on a lot of flat surfaces here between the spacers and between how the grinding went down on the manifold. But, this is 25 foot-pounds. I bottomed out the bolts so they didn't move. I was a little worried about the inside because there's no gasket right there until the center, Just the way they do them. But I was going to back off, and I was going, let me just try going a little more, and as you can see, I have something to bolt here, and I don't have there, so I didn't want the fucking cast iron to snap. But it tightened just fine, It's not going to go anywhere. I got the better stud in there now, and it's seemingly in the right location, And this is going to, because I really can't go down this way. If you remember, it was dumping right here. So it was kind of nipping this, I think back here, I think this corner right here was where it was dumping. So it's like I would have had to make a bend, 90 bend, and then you can't go here because this thing swings this way. I wasn't even looking at that at the beginning. This is with the wheels straight up. This is to the turning to the right, and this is turning to the left. So it goes 45-degree angle from each way. So it's just too close for comfort for me. So worst case scenario, you got to build a white pipe behind the tranny, And as long as the white pipe is removable, to me, it's serviceable then, So looking good, I must say. Not too shabby for a rig job. But this is what you'd have to do, or make headers. And I didn't want to make headers. And if I were to make a header, because they do sell the 3/8 metal, steel plate, I would try to get somebody to weld a what do you call it? Just a tube on it and drill the fucking holes with a hole saw and make it end. But I really want the flange. I want something to really bolt onto it, that's tight. So it's all good. I think it came out, pretty good. And now I can tighten this guy. Come on. I made this very loose as I thought I was going to have to go further than I did. I had to. But everything came out pretty good, all things considered. I mean, those spacers might rust. They were galvanized, and I got them from Amazon overnight because I ended up ordering them from Home Depot, the company, I think it's called Everbuilt. And they was like fucking special order. They don't have them in the store anymore, the spacers, and they were a good price. But these were even better, and I got a ton more. And but they're galvanized. The other one was like chrome plated, but I would have had to grind into the chrome plating anyway, so I'll save them for another project where I don't need to, chop them up. But they're probably going to rust, but so is the manifold, so it's all good. It's not going to rust through, I can tell you that much. I got to move that oil line was on the other side of the original engine. I want to try to save most of it, but I got to figure out the thread for that. I think it's just a regular taper. I don't have the motor anymore because I sold it, and sold that. I sold the clutch pedal out of the car. He wanted everything. There was a rod that went through, so now I got to put a nut and bolt to hold the brake pedal on. Brake pedal still works, of course, but it's on a bushing, and there was a bushing going through the middle as well. And this was I think this is the clutch pedal. No, this is I can't remember now. One of these is the clutch pedal hole. Yeah, this is the starter switch. Oh, Jesus. Did I give him the wrong one? Oh, that would be so asinine. And I cut the wires for that, although I couldn't unscrew them anyway. Oh, this is hilarious. I gave the guy the wrong fucking switch. Oh, that really sucks. I didn't even think about this. I didn't look to see if I removed the right one. That's interesting. He said he wasn't going to use it anyway, but it was pretty hilarious. I gave him the pedal. I gave him everything. He just wanted the same mechanical, everything to put in his project. He's got one of those. It's not an Excalibur, but it was something that was either right before or right after the Excalibur. And he's a Studebaker fan, so he bought the engine, transmission. Like I said, clutch pedal. I can't believe I did that. Oh man, I thought it was on the outside edge. This is wonderful. I cut the high beam switch wise. It's funny how it gets. Does it get power from it? Oh, it's a ground. It's a ground that turns on the solenoid. That's interesting. Oh, that's too hilarious. I totally gave him the wrong switch. Now I gotta find out which one goes where. Oh boy. Yeah. And I gotta do something with this. I gotta weld something that goes between where I put the original. I don't think I really have to be honest, because the thing that I put in was so strong. But I don't know if it needs to be a little stronger here in the center of the car or what. It's hard to say. I figured it would tie it in just the same way, but maybe a tubular something or other with a flat steel thing, drill a hole through it so the tube goes through, and basically while it's like this, it's up in the air, but the wheel's on the ground, I have it in the back. I threw the drive shaft up in there, but I gotta put it all the way on and see how it goes. It looks like it's gonna work. This is how it looks with the steering and the inside. And like I said, not the right color. I don't know why I'm bothering. But I was thinking something in the realm of possibly AC vents here when I do the AC. So it kind of like you lose it, you're lost in translation with it. And what else? Yeah, something like that maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking. And then funny, the radio, which is deleted, it's just this big, and this is the speaker. So this is an interesting thing also that could maybe be used for that, because I mean there is no modern radio that's this size. I mean I'm kind of like, what the hell am I doing here? So, but there's a few things that they have with the AC, but there's just so little room over here. Everything is really challenging me, to say the least, so I can't believe I gave him the wrong switch and I hacked out the fucking high beam switch, which I was going to put one in anyway. And what else? I guess that's it for now. Let's see how my epoxy job came out. And yeah, I got the heat on with the doors open. It just ended up that way. This guy's pretty much dry, I believe, and this guy hopefully didn't stick to that. Oh, it did. All right. Okay, that just peeled off. So hopefully a light sanding will work with this. Then I got to put extra on this guy here. Is this still soft? It is. Maybe a tad soft. Nah. See, sometimes when it's soft, that's when you want to sand it, you know? So this was just to make it look a little bit better. I can't go crazy. I'm not an interior guy, so I'm going to sand it once and then try to, you know, figure out how much more I need in a couple of places, just to at least make it look good in the front. I didn't get to this crack, obviously, because it ran out, but I got more there. But I think it's coming out pretty good. I'm going to see how this goes. This guy didn't want to go anywhere. And the nut didn't want to come off here, no matter how hard I tightened it. So I'm going to let dogs lie. The ones that came off, I'm going to put new ones there, and that's it. See what happens. So it went in rather nice, and then I gave it one extra turn because I could tell it was spinning, because I didn't put a wrench on it, you know. I tightened it because the whole thing was spinning, so I went to go tighten it, and as soon as I tightened it, it stripped. Ripped out the threads, and now it doesn't. How wonderful. I'm sure I'll be able to get it off, but I'm just going to leave it for now so I can put the shift in. But these things are expensive, those little spacers, and I can probably put something else in its place. I don't quite know yet. Man, is that frustrating, though. I can tell you that. I was not expecting that. It just sucks. It really does when fucking old parts fucking fail on you. But it did slide right in, and it doesn't feel like it has any kind of, you know, tension on it per se. So I'm happy about that. It really didn't feel like anything is wrong, and I do have it angled, so it's facing down more. The thing is at an angle, so I think that kind of makes up for it. I believe this thing here is at a slight angle. I have the rear part in. Tomorrow, Monday. Boy, lots of fun. Maybe I could put it into place, because the hole is going to be a standard kind of size hole. Man. It's just that never fails. Never fails. Try to save money by getting it out, and that one got all chewed up, and this one here just fucking stripped. Very frustrating. Okay, so I took them both out. As you can tell, this one is stuck like this. I didn't want to bother with it. It was still working. It was just working fine. This one here was the one that was stripped. So I took a vice grip. I did get the bolt out. And what I'm going to do now is actually, I chased the thread. I got it on without a lock washer, made it tight, put it in the vise, made it tight, and I'm going to weld it. And it's the same idea like this. This is practically welded. It ain't coming loose. So it's already bottomed out. So I'm going to do the same thing, and it'll work the same way, but the opposite, you know. So it'll pull in from this side, which is fine. I can still put a lock washer on that one, and I won't go too crazy on the threads. That's all. Okay, just a tad hot, and I welded it. It ain't going nowhere, and other than that one weld right there, I should be able to still get the 9/16 on it. So I can hold it on. I have to hold it on one side to do the other. So should be okay. And it may not even need it. It may just be the lock washer may bring it in. It'll be fine. But I just got to not nail it so hard. And I really didn't nail it that hard, but I just wanted to make sure it was a new rubber and all that, and shit happens. So I said, oh my God, that's hot, and I chucked it into the water, but except it didn't go in the water, it went into the oil. So it's quenched. That's wonderful. I'm touching it exactly where I welded it. That's getting hot. Figures. It's a little warm, but it's nice and clean. Like the oil really does quench it. It might even harden it a little bit, make those threads a little harder, although the heat obviously wasn't on those threads. All right. Worst case scenario, we got to buy new ones, but I think it'll be all right. Okay for now, at least. Well, it was daylight when I started, but I ground off the brackets, and then I tried to flatten them, but I was like, I had heavier pieces of aluminum, and I had to put them in different places. Spaced it out. The hole is 1.5 inches from each end, because there's about 3/4 of an inch in between. That gives me room to mount it. And I touched up this with some more paint. Probably going to run out of paint on the steering wheel, but this took hours between grinding them and, curving them. Well, I did it all by hand. You know, it's not all, they're not all perfect, but it looks good from, you know, this kind of distance. But I think it's too late right now. I'm not going to bother trying to put it on. I'm debating how to mount it as well because, oh, what a mess. I think I'm going to clean up during the snowstorm. Oh, wait, I don't have my light on. So, without taking out the radiator, which I would love to do, love not to take out the radiator, I was debating whether to drill it and put the rivet things that I have, the threaded rivet pieces. Of course, I may have to remove it, and I may not even do it. I may just put nut and bolt. But I bought this put it in one of these drawers, but ultimately, big rivet gun. I actually forgot to put these away. They ended up getting away, but I wouldn't put 10 millimeter. But ultimately, you drill a hole and then you use that rivet gun to put it in. For the life of me, I can't. I tried to be neat at the time, and I was putting it away. I think this is it. Yeah. Okay. So you got all these different sizes here, metric and standard, up to a certain size. But if I don't have the space, then I gotta play with it. I never dealt with this yet. I don't even know what the fuck. Like, this is a tool to lock it in, and then you have your different things here. You thread it on, you know, and you force it in, I guess, you know. I gotta go by the instructions, because I'm sure there's something that you have to do to make it right as far as the hole is concerned, the first hole. But it looked kind of nice. It doesn't seem not well made. I was going to put these in the chassis, but the chassis is so thin on this car, even though it's box. It's very, and I made a spacer, and when I impacted the spacer wasn't very thick, but I know it was all I really needed. But you know, I kind of went overkill. I don't mean to gorilla tighten everything, but I was debating now what I should do with the, I figured I put in 5/16 bolt or something like that. I can even put a metric 6, which is what I have in those right there. But I made that an 8 millimeter hole, or whatever, 5/16 hole. So I might just go with the 5/16 to keep some of that stuff American. Yeah, right here. Looks like I got to make a much bigger hole. And truthfully, though, this is like heavy steel. These ain't no shit. I don't know if you could put these in aluminum. And probably the things for aluminum, you could just buy at Ace Hardware, because I've seen them. I run into them every so often. So I'm not even sure I can even use this, because this looks like something that you really rivet onto steel. I feel like I'm not quite sure if this would really buckle enough. That's interesting. These are very strong. So I haven't tested it yet. I hate to test it out on somebody else's car, not mine, you know. But I always run into a situation where I need this, and I usually deal with it and just do something else. But I figured that was worth it, you know, to buy. Yeah. So it's all, you know, the dry shaft's in. Like I said, you saw me. I made it work with those things. I welded that nut on. The U-bolt, one U-bolt seemed a little weird, so I think I might order new U-bolts. I felt like if I kept going, it was going to snap, which happens on those things when they get old. Like the threads were revealing more on one side than the other. I didn't bother filming it. I was just cramped in there, but I didn't like it. So I might buy new U-bolts for that, which I'm pretty sure that they don't list it for the Studebaker, but it's going to be like the same for a Ford as long as they have the same U-joint, which I'm sure there's something that does. Seems like a very standard U-joint. This thing's been sitting here. I'm going to end up cleaning this up. I might have to get something coarser than just Scotch-Brite pad. and hopefully it. I put a piece of plastic in here and then mounted it. It's pretty fucking heavy. Thing is, it looks like it's sagged. It needs to, I gotta just round that out, but then I gotta put more on top here probably. Maybe I should do that tonight, just because it gives me time. It gives it time to dry and cure. I don't know if I have any more. That's the other thing. So I'll see. But it's been a long day. A lot of other shit I gotta do. Snow is gonna come tomorrow night, so I'll be here tomorrow, and then hopefully I accomplish something. I don't know if this is doing it any justice with videos, but you can see it on that other gray car there. It's coming down at a good clip. Holy shit, other than on the grass, there wasn't much to speak about 2 hours ago. Oh boy. Guess I'll be getting rid of this snow tomorrow. Hopefully it stops eventually. Couldn't get out the side door, I think. Wasn't even going to try. It's funny how the snow drifts. Like I had a walkway there almost, and there's nothing on the patio, and then it all blowed up on top of those two sheds. I gotta walk over to my truck. This is just immense over here. I guess the car ain't so bad, but I got the plowed me in, and I don't know which way I want to go. It's insane. To my knees, but then it's down here. It's way down, and then it ramps back up again. Oh my god! Holy shit! This is the soft side. I'm walking inside it. Wow. Oh my god. I knew it had to be high. My cars. This is insane. Everything has at least a foot. If not, like the 51 Cadillac has like 3 feet. Same thing with the car behind it. This is insane. Holy shit. Now I gotta try to get my truck out. Actually, doesn't have that much snow on it. I just gotta get there. But I think I gotta put my phone down because my hands are getting cold. It's actually kind of good that it blew off, but I gotta try to power through this. It's gonna be interesting. Well, this ain't good. Oops. Both pins sheared off. Ain't nearly done yet. You walk up to this, but you see, this is the top of the car. This is how high it is. I can't even see my phone. Is it recording here? It is okay. I don't even know. But you can see the top of the car there. It finally melted over there. Wow. Something in the cat, some kind of cat was up here. Oh, man, oh man. My neighbor confirmed that those two cars were as high as the roof line. And then this is my door right now. I actually got a line going all the way. Whew. This side, not nearly as bad. Nearly. It's amazing, but I knew by looking at my neighbors. I didn't bother shoveling here, but it's the first time I shoveled the dirt and grass just so I can get to my car, and hopefully the mail carriers figure this out and come this way if they have to leave something on the floor, on the steps, whatever. Wow. Fucking ridiculous. The other side was a lot less. I drilled all the way to 7/8 of an inch. The pin is 15/16. I just could not get it's so hardened on the outside. The more you try drilling, this one here would not go with 11/16. I actually grinded down a bunch of step bits because you can't find 11/16. And I had 11/16, and I accidentally left it outside here, and I heard it get swapped up by my snowblower, and I'm not quite sure where it went. So that was my only hope with that. But this fucking hole that's on that side right there doesn't line up. It's kind of, this one lines up more. That one's a fucking joke. But you would think it makes sense to be lined up to it, but I actually got them both out. I got the other half of the pins out of the plow the first day. That wasn't too bad. It just this one came right out. That one had a hit it pretty hard, but it came out anyway. I honed this side with a little honer, although it really wasn't the right size. I forced it in there, and of course it's on the loose side, but that's fine. It's tight at the end, but even that much play for a plow is nothing, you know. Gotta grease it, Mike. That's what the grease fitting is for. I had no idea. Never greased it in the over 15 years I've had this one. But I don't like it, but what am I going to do? As long as it stays in the end there, it should be okay. It'll be filled with grease. It ain't going anywhere. It probably had enough play anyway before even, but now I can actually maybe plow something soon. Oh boy, what a disaster. This is where I got the ticket, right on this corner. But if my car was still parked there, it would be plowed the same way. It literally is the same thing. They didn't even go to the corner. Well, they didn't even go to the curb. What's the point? Well, started up one. I'm going to start up this other one. There's a ticket they gave me the other day. Pieces of shit. For no reason. And no probable cause for anything. But remove these, plow the spot, and then park them right back where they were. Haven't been recording much, just haven't felt like it. Pretty depressing when it's fucking cold. It did warm up a bit after the blizzard we had, and a lot of it's melted, but it's down to 26 degrees right now. It's pretty damn cold. Anyway, so what I had done here is I got the fan in. I had to grind off these guys and put these brackets. I figured straight on works, and it's just a minor thing here. Minor gap. I may have it lined up top and bottom with the weld. I probably should have went with the one for the Dodge Dart because it is a Dodge Dart radiator, but it does tend, according to the size, it looks like it hangs over. And don't forget these brackets are the opposite side, so this goes on this side, and then this would overhang on this end. Because that's what it looks like it does, because the measurements that they give me, they swear that it's correct, so I'm like, I went with the Jeep one because left to right, it was correct, or smaller, and the top and bottom, though, I realize that it's a little bit of a mistake, but this is awfully long here, so I have it closer to here, so you can't put the hose on the way. There's plenty of, whatever you gotta do there for that, and obviously I give myself a little more room so I can put this hose on. And I used, I drilled out the holes and put carriage bolts so that these can be easily unbolted and removed, because that's a big thing with me. Now, the only thing I'm going to do, which you really can't do anything with that petcock, but I'm going to take it off. I'm going to extend it with a piece of brass, maybe angle it down so it kind of can drain in that area right there, because it would just kind of drip and hang and roll over there. And this piece here is bent in this car, so I have a feeling the tow truck driver might have recently pulled on that. I don't know if it was hit. It kind of looks like hay on this side, although that's bent outwards. To me, this looks like a hook got on this, and this might just be on the close side, but it's hard to tell. Somebody could have hit that, because there is a pinch right there. So one side can be hit, although it's pinched over here too. That's in a different space, though. It's a completely different look on both sides. So, not quite sure. That's body's shop stuff. Or you get a new piece of tin if somebody has a used one. What else? So I ended up going with the electric because you could tell, like, the motor looks like it's straight, and the radiator is definitely off, a little bit. I don't know if this angle changes at all with the way everything was, or just the fact that the fan was in the higher position on the original motor. It kind of lived in the middle a little bit more. This just makes it for sure that it's going to pull the air that it needs. Like I said, I'm going to have to get some rubber to put around here, take it off again. But that's why I made it to work like this, so it gets done pretty quickly. Overall, I'm very happy with the way everything's going. I don't know if I can't remember if I filmed it. I think I did. I haven't made this video yet, collaboration, but I had to end up grinding all these out because I really should have got the right year. I think I remember saying that. I put the new bolt on over there, so this is the exhaust manifold. Looks like it's going to be fine. I just would definitely next time go with the one for the front wheel drive car from the right year, because I went with the one newer and I thought it was fine, but I didn't realize the aluminum head motors, they had different spacing here, so I had to grind the fuck out of it, and then the head of the bolt wouldn't work. So the end result is that I had to put these spaces, and the spaces had to be grinded even, so it's going to work. Seems okay. Right now, I took out the starter switch and I guess it's factory. It kind of looked like it was Mickey Mouse, it kind of looks like somebody made this because it's tweaked and whatnot, and it was covering the hole. But when this is on, I don't know. It's almost like an afterthought they did this. I don't know. I really don't. This is the switch. I was trying to give the guy the switch that brought them over, and I realized I gave him the freaking high beam switch, which I was putting new anyway. Still haven't figured out what I'm doing with the gas pedal just yet. What else? I'm going to try to get the right color paint for this. It's bothering me. And I'm not done. I ended up messing around with I'll get to the steering wheel in a minute. Let me go on all that. Travel through the mess here, but I have been putting layers and layers of epoxy, but this plastic bonder epoxy from one of the main companies, it's kind of not good. Like, there was a big chunk here missing, and there's a whole bunch of cracks, and I wasn't going to go crazy with the cracks, so you can still see there's a crack. So I got a primer filler I'm going to use, but this is nowhere near smooth. I bought something with a drill attachment that's kind of like this, but with a drill attachment. I want to see how that comes out. This is very difficult to do, and this is why I guess they charge $1,800 to do this. I put a lot of time into this, and I just keep trying to sand it off, and it's just not easy. And I'm not really sanding. I'm using like a file, a round file, a flat file. And no matter what, it's like I can't get ahead. And I put this so thin, this stuff, and it just keeps dripping. And if I let it sit too long, it's even harder to apply. So I'm just hoping I have enough layers here that it's building up, and then when I do have enough to sand it, but it just doesn't sand off, like you need something very, very coarse that takes off a lot at one shot, and emery cloth isn't working, these things aren't working. If you use this is way too strong, with the tool, of course. I tried one of these pads, this is not going to be so great, but at least it won't have holes in it. That's what I'm thinking, and it'll look good from a distance for the most part. And I just feel that, if I'm going through all this trouble, I might as well just get the paint matched right. And so it'll be another can of paint. But I went to a real body supply place that can match it up. So I gave them the piece, and hopefully they come up with something for me. But they said definitely has to be base coat plus clear coat. I ordered some stuff on eBay for the directional signal, the original one, and none of them use this thing. And I don't understand this. This is something meant for Studebakers, and I know it says Studebaker Commander, but it had the same thing. Like, they didn't even have, a directional signal. Like it was an added option. Come on, hang on. Two things necessary. Anyway, so there's some directions in here. There's a couple of bulbs, but then there's this shit that looks like some kind of weird thing. It was missing shit. It has a couple extra brackets, but I have a feel, it has the same cover, and I saw this in the picture. It has the same cover that came with this car. So I'm a little befuddled, but it seems like this is only something that you're ever going to get from Studebaker, and none of these cars pretty much have it, or there's nothing available for these years. So this says it has to be used in conjunction with 5774, which is also hard to find in good shape for less money. But it's like I didn't even need to have this other Studebaker thing. So this is the thing. I took it apart because it seems new, but it's not perfect. What's ingenious about it is this little wheel here. And I saw the wheel, and I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at until I looked at it. But this is designed to actually press up against. You bolt it to the arm, and it presses up against this area here. And with the opposite turn, it turns it off. So I find that amazing. And they have other but I'm not liking the way it is, and I can't remember. I don't think this one was this is another brand. It's not the 5774. So hang on a second. So that's a little hard to move. So probably gonna have to get lubes. But if I see what happens, you roll it a little bit and it rolls right back. Now this doesn't do it. It's not on there. These little teeth bite into there. They're automatically physically rolling it back. Like it basically does the same thing. Like if you lift it up and remove it, it's pretty kind of cool. And I'm trying to make it user friendly, and because even if I got the original stuff to work, it's retarded to have the directional signal on the light switch. And I called the Studebaker guy. He goes, they all have them on the thing. There's none of them have it on this. And I'm like, well, you don't fucking know shit apparently. So unless this is some kind of aftermarket shit that they came up with for this car, like I don't really know, but it looks like the same, not that, but it all looks like the same stuff. This is all loose. Then I got to take this out. Then these keys fucking work properly in this thing, so that would be help. They don't even work right in the freaking doors. And I'm working on. I want to get the gas gauge to work originally with the fuel cell that's in the trunk. So that starts to lead into wiring. So I cut open the wiring harness here, and I just removed these two wires because this went from the voltage regulator to the original generator that was part of this harness. So I kind of don't want anything in there. I know this one here is for the temperature thing, so that's got to go on this guy over here. But before we even get that crazy, I pulled out that was here, which had the starter switch along with the floor switch, which is not really doesn't want to change the switch. This guy here probably goes to the gauge. I don't know which one comes in from the gauge. I gather one of these guys. So I was kind of hoping I can kind of reuse it. I don't know. So this was originally on the starter, I think, but I guess I put it to the battery because I got something else going on. This looks pretty hefty, this wire. Supposedly you can adapt it to make it go to the back of the alternator, and that way the gauge will work the same way. As far as the lighting is concerned, somebody retaped this, but this tape was like, it's rock hard, so if somebody redid this, they did it a long time ago. All the wires are good, it's just that the felt was just like, this is the felt. Oh, this seems well. But it just cut really easily with a razor. So you have, which I kind of cut them because I gave the guy the wrong switch, and I'm not sure because I ended up taking off the thing. But one of these has a eye loop on it probably because I didn't cut it. The ones that I cut are obviously going to the lights, so I think it's these three. And the other one that went underneath. Yeah, what's this guy? Oh, this guy is interesting. So it came out of what I had here. So this was, this is the ground. Okay, so this one could be eliminated as well. This is the wire that led to that switch. So this grounded the solenoid when you hit the button on the floor. So that's eliminated. So the starter, the starter wire is gone. So it's only going to be 3 wires going down there. This one here with the little plug here, I believe this is for the horn, and it wasn't hooked up, so I don't know if the horns even work, if I gotta get aftermarket horns, which is just as well. I'd like to get these working because it's awesome to have 6-volt horns below with 12 volts. Now there's another plug over here, and we have, let me just move these guys out of the way. I guess I should go through what's here. One is the temperature gauge. The other one, I don't think there's another gauge here for that. It just seems like power to the solenoid, perhaps. So maybe power with the key on. Like I said, that one goes from the battery to one end, probably, of the gauge, and it also powers the ignition switch, undoubtedly. I'm pretty sure this one went down to the steering box because there was a wire that was disconnected over here for the horn, and we're going to make that work like factory. These 3 wires are for the high beam lights, so it's power going in with the 2 high beam switches, and it probably, these make a turn over here. One probably simply gets power from inside, from the headlight switch, and then the other 2 are going high beam, low beam, and they're color coded, so it's probably correct. I noticed that there was an extra wire here that goes to the lights on both sides, so that might be something where you can put a different bulb, and because it may or may not have what we need here, unless there's another light, which I don't think so. I don't know if it's a dedicated ground, which I doubt it, but it's something to do. Excuse me, the hiccups. It's something to do with an option, undoubtedly. So we shall find out about that. You have, basically, it looks like, and these 2 are jumped. So I gather this is the 2 brake lights that go to the back. If there's 2 separate lines, they sometimes don't have that. Because, but if it had directional signals, I think it did. So these are probably directional. You got these 3 here. This guy here was kind of lingering around here, so I'm not sure it was meant to go all 3, so I don't know why those will be connected, unless that is the tail lights, and then this is the license plate light, which might have been an option, so I left the wire there. So I'm going to end up putting the reverse lights in. I'm not sure yet how that's going to go. I'm not sure what this guy is yet. I have to think hard, but I can't do it right now. Whether it's a power supply, but I have a feeling it's another option. But hopefully I don't have, because the wires are in pretty darn good shape other than stuff going around them, so I can undo that and put new tape. Not really much sense redoing this. It really does look okay. This is the horn over there. I could put a different one if I had to. But I don't know, it looks pretty darn good. And I think, if this, you got one for each directional, one circuit I can make one circuit all for the lights and for the tail lights and for the license plate light, and then maybe whatever's left I can use for a reverse light. So there seems to be enough wiring here to do what I need to do. We'll see how it incorporates between the directional signals and the brake lights and whatnot, and hopefully I don't have to do something with the brakes or the brake light switch, which is under the car. So that's where I'm at. It's in a nutshell right now. I did put the dipstick tube on from the Camaro that had on the back of the block, because it was coming right up here, which would have been fine, but it was impossible to bolt it to anything. So I just that came from another bracket I had. I painted it black, and I bolted it to the back of the head. And now I put like a body bolt. Yeah, so now it's super firm, and it's all the way out here, so you have plenty of access. You can't miss it, kind of thing. And that's looking good. Bolted this bracket out. I bolted it back in. I'm debating whether a different lower hose now. I got to do all these heater hoses. There's so much heater hose that I probably will just try to buy a roll online. I put the fuel pump in, I put the thing back in. I put a new fuel pump because all of them only have a 1-year warranty. So I'm like, I got to make a new line that goes all the way back to the tank for a return line. And that's why, an old car like this can always have some kind of problem with vapor lock, but that basically totally eliminates the problem. That'll work out good, and I can just tie it to the other line in some fashion. And which I did many years ago when I put a fuel cell in it. And I did disconnect the line right here. It started dripping. Gas didn't look so good to drive the car. But I'm going to put a new line from here that goes shorter to the fuel pump, and then I'll make another one back. This pieces out. Back to some of the wiring for the high beam switch and for the starter cutout switch. So that's pretty much where I'm at. This is a long video, 18 minutes, and like I said, I had this other one I didn't get to it, and the switch for the wiper was fucked up. It was smoking and going on fire the last time I drove it, and then all of a sudden it started working fine. So there's nothing wrong with the motor. It's 6-volt. I'll have to get some kind of reduction because the aftermarket ones are expensive. This is probably all you need, and it'll work just fine. And that's that. And getting there, but it's still cold. It still sucks to do work at this time of the year. Managing though. So I decided to take this stuff off too. And of course, fucking wires are short for the ignition. It's stupid. I got the headlight out, and I'm like, looking at this again, and I'm like, turns. This is the turn signal switch, is it? And I'm like, it's just telling you to turn it one way for this. I guess this way is the instrument panel, and then the other way M. It's not dumb because there is no. Oh, there's a light back there. I don't know. This is so stupid. And then this wire here was kind of wrapped in it, and this wire here, and in the end there's 2 wires coming out of this, or maybe it was. Apparently they were putting this for speaker wires. Maybe they had some kind of radio under the dash, maybe? I don't know anymore. And it goes under the carpet here and goes over to the back, so I gather it's for speakers. But that's hilarious. So this is just a headlight switch, and obviously there's some things that are not being used. And this might just work fine. I'm not sure if I want to use it, because now I'm worried. Not worried, but I'm just like, a lot of times it ends up clashing with stuff that you're trying to do. But that's pretty hilarious. I'll see.